This is Extra Paycheck Podcast, episode number 133.
You're listening to Extra Paycheck Podcast, where you will learn how to build and grow your own successful online business. Now, here's your host, Alex Soul.
Welcome to yet another episode of the Extra Paycheck Podcast. This is episode number 133. Today, I've got a special guest for you. His name is Chase Boehringer, and he is the owner and founder of the Bucketlist Lifestyle. He's also a life coach and a simply amazing person. I met him at the Burning Man this year, and I was instantly captivated by his stories and his ability of telling stories. And I thought right then and there that I would love to have him on my podcast one day. And this is that episode, so enjoy. Hi, Chase, and welcome to the Extra Paycheck Podcast.
Hey, Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Chase, please tell us a little bit more about yourself and what is that you do as your main business.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to thank you so much for having me on this podcast. Honestly, I listen to it all the time. It is absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorite podcasts, and I just want to first thank you for having me on the show.
You're so welcome, and it's nice to have you here.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a little bit about me, just like in a nutshell, is that I definitely did not start with an entrepreneurial mind. I started from a small town in Oregon with 300 people living in the country, a trailer in the woods kind of deal. And although that inspiration was always inside of me, honestly, it was pushed down by my environment and myself. And I really had to fight through quite a lot of things in order to just realize that on the inside, I absolutely was not aligned with my environment. So through challenge, marriage, divorce, so many things that I'm sure we'll get to at some point. I decided to start this company called the Bucketlist Lifestyle. And I started it because I have this bucket list. I wrote it when I was in the deepest, darkest depression. And it was the thing that saved me, honestly. Like the light at the end of the tunnel was this bucket list. And when I decided to start this company, it was just a travel blog. And now it's transformed into an adventure tour company, going from people just reading about fun, awesome stuff that I'm doing to actually being able to come travel with me around the world. It's changed my life and changed other people's lives. So I cannot tell you enough how much passion I have for my business just because of the fact that it's what I love to do most in the world. And honestly, it's the thing that saved my life. So I'm able to help others along their path, whether they're starting from a dark place or a happy place. It really doesn't matter. It's all positivity.
That sounds incredible, Chase. And I guess want you to elaborate a little bit on that part that you said you wrote that bucket list for yourself when you were in not such a good place, and then you started a blog. So when you were doing that, when you were just starting your blog, did you already have that project in mind of actually starting a company that allows people to travel with you?
No, absolutely not, Alex. Honestly, it transformed on its own. And I think that's a huge part of business and a huge part of life, really, is just taking what's given to you and then just continuing on and flowing with whatever kind of pops its head up. So for me, I was traveling and people would message me, either emails from the website or Facebook friends, even family. And they were writing like, hey, I see these adventures that you're going on, and I would absolutely love to join you on one. Like, what's your next adventure? What do you think? And I'm a solo traveler at heart. I always have been. So I wasn't super pumped about the idea of having a lot of friends and family around as I was traveling. And I'm thinking, and I'm like, well, I love to travel, and I'm kind of done being broke. I'm like this travel blogger, and oftentimes, as many of us are, we're just backpackers, living on couches and hostels. And I was just kind of made the connection of, I might be able to monetize this. If people are seeing me as this really fun, positive adventure, which I was and am, and people want to join me on this, maybe I'll be able to charge them a little bit extra money than what they would pay anyways. and it's going to be a win-win. And for me, I'm a travel hacker. I find everything so cheap that the price that I charge, even though I'm making a significant profit, the price that I charge is equal or less than what they would be able to find if they just Google searched and planned their own vacation. So it's an absolute win-win.
That's that's actually incredible, and it does sound that sounds great, and that sounds like something like a lot of people would want to do or would want to try to do. Like you mentioned travel hacking, but it's I think that kind of thing comes with experience, that kind of skill, right? You can't just, as you mentioned, just Google and find the best prices and the best tickets and the best places. You have to know more than that, and you have to know where to look for that.
100%. And it's so great that you say that, because just as anything in any business and any industry, resourcefulness is what's going to make the difference in your business. Getting incredibly resourceful and not just going along the line that everybody else goes on. You have to find something that's different, think a different way, problem solve with a different perspective than the other people have. So for me, I'll just give you a very small example. When I'm looking up Airbnbs, for example, in Spain, I do a trip to Run with the Bulls every year in Pamplona. I'm looking up these Airbnbs, and they're thousands and thousands of dollars because they know the tourists come in.
Yeah.
And my brain works differently. I don't just accept that and say, I think, okay, who do I know in Spain? Who is a local in Spain who can go to all the older people in Spain who don't have Airbnb, who don't have the internet, and who don't speak English? And then have that person go around and talk to all these people, take live videos for me so I can see the inside of these apartments, and then negotiate a deal with the locals' price instead of my own price. It's all resourcefulness. No one taught me that. I never read that in a book. And so many travel hacks are exactly that way, where you just have to think outside the box. And this doesn't just go for travel. This goes for business in general. Thinking of all of your problems in really unique, exploratory ways, whether that's you find that through meditation or whether you find that through just expanding what's possible for you and your business and the problem itself. Either way, it's all about resourcefulness.
Boom. That's a very nice travel hack. Thank you for sharing that. And I hope some people listening to this podcast will actually think of that and try to figure out if they have someone that they know in a place where they're going in the future, because that's a really nice way to save money. Thank you.
Absolutely. Oh, and I will throw in one little last piece. I pay that person, of course. So I give that person 100 euros in order to, search for a week and a half or 2 weeks to do this. So it's a win-win. The person that I know in the country is able to make a little bit of extra cash, and I'm able to save thousands of dollars.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's a big motivator for a lot of people, just a little bit of cash.
Yeah, exactly. And they're willing to do it. And so it's a win all the way around.
Awesome. Okay, Chase. So you started getting these friends and family asking you for those adventures and to take them along with you. And that's when it hit you that you should turn that into a company and offer that to public. So how did you get, I guess, your first clients, your first contracts? How did that happen?
Honestly, they were friends and family. As I said, I didn't do any marketing. I just threw up on Facebook and I said, hey, I'm going on this epic adventure. And I should back up just a tiny bit. I had to first think of all of my favorite experiences on Earth. And I thought, okay, I've done it all. Like, I know people listening to this don't really know who I am or whatever, but like, I've been to the 7 wonders of the world. I've been to every cultural festival on Earth. I've been to every major capital and tourist destination on Earth. So I have done the things, that most people want to experience and say are the best things on Earth. So when I'm thinking of, okay, what are literally my favorite things on Earth to do? And I can easily pick 5 of the most fun experiences on Earth. And I think, cool, if this is my favorite thing to do, if these are my best weeks of my life, then they're probably going to be the best week of an accountant's life, or a caregiver's life, or someone else's life. It's probably going to be aligned.
Yeah.
So my very first trip was to Run with the Bulls in Spain. It was my favorite thing I've ever done in my life, the festival itself and the running. And so when I thought, okay, cool, I'm going to do this amazing thing, and I'm just going to ask my friends if they want to go with me. And it was truly, and I know it sounds too simple to be true, but I just started sharing how excited I was for this trip because I'm straight up excited. And I just started going on a live video, and I'd be pumped talking about the running of the bulls and the festival of San Fermin and how incredible it is and how they throw sangria everywhere and how it's just like everyone's so happy and the food is good. And I'm just sharing this with passion, and that naturally pulls in the people that I want, because I want passionate people. I want fun people who are ready for an incredible time. And in order to sell something, you first have to sell yourself. And I was totally and completely sold on the idea of an adventure. And I still am to this day. My next trip is an adventure to Africa for an African safari. And then we're going great white shark diving in Cape Town. I'm so excited for that trip. Like, I have chills right now just thinking how epic and how much fun we're going to have. And so I'm just like, I'm so sold on it that when I talk about it to people, they instantly want to join me because they just know, like, holy crap, not only is this guy pumped about it, I'm pumped about it because he's pumped about it, and I'm pumped about it because I'm going to do something epic with my life and actually go on a better vacation than just sitting in a resort, all-inclusive resort, put on some shorts and get a suntan, you know?
Yeah, I totally get you. And I think it does take a special person to do that because, as you probably know, a lot of people, and I do as well, who would rather do that, just go to an all-inclusive and sit in a pool while looking at the ocean because, it's why would I walk 5 minutes to the actual ocean when I could chill in the pool? And I get that. I understand that. It's really not my cup of tea. I would probably never do that because I prefer to actually explore and, dive into that culture wherever I'm going. And I think by doing what you're doing, you're attracting the people that want exactly that rather than that's all-inclusive,
Truly. And I think you said something really briefly. You said, I think it takes a special type of person. And I would slightly a little bit like to alter that. So I feel like it would take the type of person who's experienced what an adventure is, or at least allowed themselves to imagine the possibility of what an adventure could be. Because oftentimes so many people associate their vacation with a breath, with the ability to stop freaking working so hard and to just breathe and do nothing. It's what they do every day when they get home. They turn on the TV and they have way too much food to numb them, drink beer or wine to numb them, and just do nothing and just turn off. Yeah. And that's what they associate with their vacations. However, what I have found is turning vacations into, let's rent a little scooter and let's get lost for the day. Just that little thing can change someone's entire perspective of what a vacation can be and what a recharge can be. Because so often we associate recharges with just relaxing and sitting just like, just a blob. But a recharge can be the positive energy that you get from the other people around you, the positive energy you get from meeting someone new, from falling in love, from getting lost and finding the most incredible bakery you've ever found in your entire life. That can be your recharge.
Dude, I love how you tell stories and how you explain simple things. so engaging. I love that.
Thanks.
And you're so right. And Chase, before we jump back into business, I wanted to ask this little question. I have to. Running with the bulls. Do you actually get to run with the bulls?
Oh, hell yeah, you do.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a few years now, and it is the most exhilarating experience of my life, bar none, no question. It is also incredibly dangerous. I'm very clear with people. We go over all the safety precautions because it is a very dangerous experience. However, I don't go there for the running of the bulls, man. I go there for the party around it. I've been to the biggest parties on earth, Burning Man with you, everything. My favorite party on earth is San Fermin in Spain, still to this day.
Wow.
Man, it's so that's what I go there for, and that's saying something, honestly.
Yeah, that's giving me ideas for my next adventure. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, come and join. We're going 2018. We're going.
Awesome. That sounds great. All right, Chase. So let's head back to business. And how are you getting clients right now for the Bucketlist adventure?
So the way that I'm getting clients is through Facebook marketing, and truly, The simplest thing for me is by sharing my passion, as I said before. I'm so sold that I share on Facebook Lives consistently by adding value to them. So, for example, I'll share a post on any kind of personal development, because also one thing your listeners don't know, I'm also a life coach. So oftentimes on my personal page, I'm talking about personal development things, how you can make your life better in some way. And so oftentimes I'll share value, and at the end, I'll invite them to come and visit my website or to learn more or to check out the other adventures. Also, recently in the last year, I've upgraded all of my video, all of my GoPro, my cameras, everything. And I've been taking tons of video footage to make sure to share the experiences. Because so often in the past, I had a photo or two, and then I would have to type the experiences. But what it's all about is having them feel like they are there. They want to feel like it's possible for them. So, and that's not just with travel. That's with everything. You need to actually share, like, have them imagine what it would be like to have the headphones that you sell, or imagine what it would be like to eat that delicious food. And how are you going to show that to people? For me, it's through video and through sharing my emotion and my passion and my fun and my joy through video. So I feel like your listeners would get a lot of value just in knowing, please put these people in the experience. Really, don't just say, here's the features that it has. You give me money, this is what you get. No, that's the thing about marketing is imagining what it would be like to have my life in this way, imagining what it would feel like to be there. And a big part of that is by sharing testimonials from people who've already been on my trips and making sure to really capture when they're talking about their feelings, when they're saying, man, it felt invigorating. I felt passion for the first time in so many years, maybe even my entire life. My entire body was vibrating. Like, just when you hear that, how can you not say, I want that? And then from that point forward, it's all about, can I afford it? And my website is all dedicated to allowing people to see that they can travel the world like a boss on a budget, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I still would like you to elaborate a little bit more on that, because, okay, so you said you do Facebook Live and all that jazz, but when you do that, you're mostly, well, for most people, if they hear that, they'll think, okay, so you're still targeting your list of friends, which is not endless, you know?
Great.
And eventually everyone who wants to go on an adventure has gone with you. So how do you get other people outside of your personal contacts list to see your content and to connect with you?
Thank you so much. So always dig more when you see an outlet, because there's always more to share. So I just need those perfect questions. Thank you so much for that. So for me, I do it a few different ways. One is I make sure that everyone from my trips shares all of the posts by making it sound, this is the video of your epic experience. Make sure to share it with your family and friends. Show it to people and invite them back to have the similar experience that you had. And so that now instantly I'm already have thousands of people, because oftentimes people who are epic enough to go on these adventures often have thousands and thousands of friends. But another big one that I do is I love going on either podcasts, as like this one, or I love doing guest blog posts to lead people back. And they're always something around what I'm selling. So I'll even give example of this exact conversation. I already dropped in the fact that I'm doing a safari in Africa next. I dropped that in, and that instantly is at least going to plant a seed, including the passion, the fun, the joy, everything that we've been talking about. In a way, this is a sales pitch for my company. If you feel that, like I'm just being me. I'm not doing anything fake whatsoever. This is just the way that I show up in the world. But at the same time, the way that I show up in the world attracts the type of person to me that would enjoy something that I enjoy. So every time that I'm able to show myself to the world in any form, whatever that is, it's a sales pitch. I'm a walking sales pitch, because I've already sold myself on my product.
Yeah. And although it doesn't sound like a sales pitch in the traditional sense of it, as people understand it, you know, that car salesman.
Exactly. And I did not think, when I first got on this call, I didn't think, okay, I got to drop the African safari. No, I didn't think that at all. I'm like, I'm going to get on a podcast interview with my friend Alex.
Yeah.
But it's a natural thing because I'm literally so excited for that. Like that's what I'm the most excited for right now is my next trip. So I'm going to talk about that naturally.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So Chase, from what I hear, your business is pretty much based online. Everything you get, all the clients, the way you share your content is because there's internet.
Pretty much, yes. Also magazines. I do get published in magazines and newspapers, and on news publications, outlets. I'm looking to grow that extensively. So I just hired on a new social media manager as well for Instagram, with really, I mean, this guy is so cool. I'm really, really excited to work with him. And I'm really trying to blow up there because think about it. The name, the Bucketlist Lifestyle, like it's so flashy. It's so like, I want to see photos from that.
Yeah.
So like if I would follow it, I assume a lot of other people would as well. And so that's going to be a great avenue in order to build a following, the kind of following where if I only have 10 to 12 spots on an adventure, sometimes as low as 8 spots on an adventure, then it's going to be no problem if I'm marketing to 80,000 people,
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. And
hey, Alex, before you get to the next question, I apologize because you said something that I didn't answer or I didn't acknowledge, which was that like a lot of my stuff is online, and there are, I'd say like, yes, 90% is online. However, I truly do feel that even if the internet were to go absolutely kaput and go away, I could still continue my business. Because as I said before, I am a walking salesperson for my company. And oftentimes the people who go to my adventures are just simply referrals. Like everyone who's gone to on my adventures talks about it with their family, with their friends. They share, look at this amazing epic thing that I did. Cause that's what we do on social media. We share a highlight reel. We share like the best of the best. And guess what? I guarantee any trip that I'm running is going to be the best week of someone's life. So they're going to talk about it a lot, and they're going to get a lot of questions from their family. Oh my God, you went to the Holi Festival in India, or you went great white shark diving, or you went running with the bulls. Tell me about it. How was that? And they're like, oh my God, I'm thinking about doing that too. And they're like, dude, it was epic. You should meet my friend Chase. Like, cause obviously I become friends with all of these people. We're traveling together. And it really, so many of them are referrals and in-person meetings, but you have to first show up as a representative of your business, just being in love with your business, being excited about your business. As I said before, even if it's selling headphones, just fucking love the headphones that you sell, wear them. Be like, dude, these are the best headphones for the best price possible. And just know that every single person that's going to buy those headphones is going to have the best deal, the best experience possible. And know that, like, dude, what I'm selling is absolutely worth it and more. And you should be lucky to have this. Like, you're welcome for me telling you about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that's really awesome. Well, I ask you the question mostly because a lot of people are still very skeptical about using internet, and they still think that that's not how I want to say it. People are skeptical that you could actually build a fully blown legit business online without having like a physical storefront,
Oh wow, yeah, that's BS. That's total BS. Considering right now I'm living in Mexico in this villa with all these entrepreneurs. Every single one of them has at least one business. Most of them have multiple, all running 100% online. I have 6 employees. All of them are working from home. My entire company, I would never have someone put in an office. You know why? Because I would never be put in an office. And I'm never going to subject any of my people to experience that I wouldn't want to have, unless they're into that kind of thing. And then, sure, we can figure it out. But like really, actually, this is something important. What one man can do, any man can do. What one woman can do, any woman can do. So you have to ask yourself, in whatever industry you're in, say, is anybody doing an online service for this right now? The answer is probably going to be yes. And then you say, okay, how did that person do it? Make friends with that person. Write them an email. I mean, of course, if you're direct competition, maybe just take that into awareness and take that into account. Maybe do a lot more research outside of directly contacting them. But see, how does their business operate? How does that work? How did they get from a storefront where they're paying thousands of dollars a month to online where they're not paying electricity, they're not paying water. I used to own a gym, right? I used to own a martial arts gym, and I've had to pay thousands of dollars. I had to sign up for a 1-year lease, do the deposit. I spent so many thousands of dollars just on the startup costs alone because of my building, because I had to buy all this equipment, all this stuff, physical stuff, that it ended up like at the end, I had almost no money for marketing.
Yeah.
Building a business now online is like almost free. You can build a website almost free. You can market as long as you're good at it, almost free.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that totally. That makes a lot of sense. And I think this is one of the main points that I usually make when I tell people about starting a business online. There's no startup cost. You just, jump into it and you do it. What you're going to spend $100 on hosting and a domain name, and that's it.
Yeah.
You're there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's truly beautiful. And so often I get into these discussions with people, to be honest, of an older generation. I get into these discussions of like, they can't understand, they can't compute, they can't compute like how that's even possible. And so just making it a possibility is the first step in your head. Just creating the possibility for yourself that, okay, if someone else has done it, I can do it. And really believing that like, I truly do believe that it's possible, and it makes it more around the how than the if. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes total sense to me. Yeah. All right, Chase, so let's move on to another question. And the question is, so you're running the Bucketlist Lifestyle plus your coaching. You're doing all of that full time. That's pretty much all you do, right?
Yeah, and I'm also having a lot of fun and traveling and experiencing my life to the fullest a lot too.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yes, for work. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, but when did you, when you made that kind of decision or that leap, or maybe it was a slow progress for you to get into that full time, weren't you like worried that, I might not make enough money? I should keep a job or get a job to sustain myself.
Yes.
And tell us that thought process, please.
Yes. I honestly believe that everyone on earth, no matter, so oftentimes we can, maybe mask it with great affirmations or things like that, but that's a natural fear, a fear of going broke, a fear of failing, a fear of not being enough to accomplish this huge dream, this huge vision that you have. It's a human experience that we all share. So for me personally, in my story, I was a caregiver. That's what I was. And before I started my business, even when I owned a gym, I was a caregiver because that was how I made money. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And here's what I tell my clients. I say, it's 100% okay. And you'll never hear this from a friggin' life coach, I swear. But for me, that's what I tell people. It's 100% okay to work a job that you do not enjoy if, there's a big if, there is a way out. If you have a light at the end of the tunnel. For example, I knew that I needed to save $15,000. That's a lot of money. I knew that I needed to save $15,000 as a caregiver in order to quit my job, start my business, and start going full time. That was what I had, a light at the end of the tunnel. I figured out exactly how many months it would take if I saved up every penny, if I got rid of my TV, if I sold everything that I owned, if I streamlined my life to make myself as inexpensive of a human being to live on this planet as possible. And I did that because my dream of my business was more important to me than my TV. My dream of my business was more important to me than anything in my life. I was screaming into pillows. I was so stressed out. I was working 7 days a week. And I know that seems so intense, and it almost makes probably the listener distance themselves from me, of like, oh, that guy, in order to live your dream, you have to do something crazy and work 7 days a week for months and months. I'm not saying you have to, but I'm saying that it's a way. It's one way that worked for me, is I worked my ass off and I sold everything that I owned and I went all in on myself and all in my business. mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. I went 100% all in, and it was the best decision of my life. 100% the best decision of my life. Because here's the thing. Starting your own business, going all in on yourself is risky. It's really, really risky. You're very likely going to fail. However, so is staying in a job and a career that you don't enjoy and you don't love. And when people ask you, how are you? You just say, fine. Oh, it's fine. My job's okay. It's fine. It's just another day. That is risky. What? That's way worse of a reality than going after your dreams and failing. Just imagine what the worst case scenario is. You're probably going to be on the streets. That's pretty bad. But at the same time, imagine what the most likely scenario is. What's most likely to happen if I fail? What's the most realistic situation? Okay, I have to move back in with my parents for a few months, get a job, working the same old job that I'm doing now, save up enough money, move back into my own apartment, and then continue working that job. Cool. So you're pretty much right back where you started. It's like, and at least you actually had the opportunity to try. I'm a huge advocate, as you could probably tell, for chasing your dreams. And I know that it's almost cliche. Oh, I'm a life coach, an adventurer that tells you to chase your dreams. But it's not all light. And it's not all happiness and puppies and rainbows and millions of dollars. There will be days when you are crying in your bed and you do not want to get out of bed and you don't want to work and you don't want to talk to the world and you feel like a fraud. And that's not just my experience. That's the experience of dozens, maybe hundreds of entrepreneurs that I talk to in my community. There is always going to be those days, but they are going to be few and far in between. And it is going to be worth it. It is always worth it. Ask anyone you know if they regret chasing their dream. See what they say. See if you can ask 100 people who are living their dream life, even 100 people who aren't living their dream life, but actually went for something, that actually tried for something. Ask them if they regret what they did, the decision they make to go all in on themselves. 100% of people will say, no, I do not regret it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that so much. And, to add to that, if you do fail or if you don't succeed as much as you wanted to succeed, one of the also like side effects from that is a new experience. Is you will learn something new. It's something that will make you better in the future for your future ventures.
100%. And I want to tell you about my failure with the Bucketlist Lifestyle, actually. So I started as a travel blog, as I said. I was not making enough money from my travel blog in order to live. That is technically a failure. I went out to do that, and I did not accomplish and I did not meet the expectation that I had for myself. Technically, I was a failure in that. I failed in that. However, being resourceful and understanding that, okay, this one direction is not working. However, let's open my mind to possibility. What is possible with this? So what I started to do is I started to say, okay, I can do one-on-one coaching for travel hacking. I can teach people how to travel the world for free, get free flights and free hotels and all this stuff. It changed my life. Maybe I could charge $200 for 2 hours and teach them everything I know. And I started making money with the Bucketlist Lifestyle. I still kept my company. I didn't just throw it away. I still had the Bucketlist Lifestyle. I still had the blog, but that was my new way of like, cool, I'm making extra income. And then eventually I was like, I'm scraping by, just scraping by barely. Living in Southeast Asia, that's really scraping by.
Yeah.
So I decided, and I kept my mind open to possibility. What can I possibly do to make more money? And I wasn't willing to teach English. I wasn't willing to get another job. To me, that was working for someone else, and I just wasn't willing to do that. And so I was thinking, how can I make this money? How can I be the captain of my ship and make this shit happen? And slowly but surely, as long as I kept my mind open, new opportunities started to come because I was open to the possibility of making money different ways than I had in the past. I wasn't just focused on, this is my business, this is the way that I make money, this is reality, this is how much money I make per month, this is what I am. No, that's BS. you consistently have to keep your mind open to possibility, because the universe will throw people in front of you, will throw opportunities in front of you. And if you keep your blinders on to this is who I am, this is what my business is, this is how I market to people, this is how much I charge people, this is my ideal client, then you're going to miss so many opportunities that come in front of your face. Still focus on that, but stay open, you know?
Yeah, totally agree with you. And Chase, I want to go back a little bit about taking that risk and chasing your dream. Why do you think most people that actually do complain about how they hate their jobs and how they don't get enough vacation days, why do you think most of them do not ever go for that dream? They don't take that risk to start something new. Why, in your opinion, is that?
So there's multiple things. One is, if you have children, this is a different conversation entirely.
Yeah.
Some people have responsibilities. They have parents who are older who need to be taken care of. They have certain life events that happen to them where it's not as much as an option as people who are as privileged as I am. Truly, truly privileged as I am to not have children, to not have health problems. So there are universal fears. I think I said this before about the feeling of not being enough. That is a universal experience as a human being, to the feeling of not being enough. And what happens when you're not enough is you are scared that you're not going to be accepted or loved. And oftentimes we get into this experience of, this is who I am. I'm just going to do this normal thing like everybody else. Because guess what? If I do what everybody else does, then they'll like me. And so often we're wrapped up in this fear of judgment from our parents, judgment from our partners. What are they going to say if I just quit my job? They're going to say that I'm running away from everything. And then that judgment is real, and it hurts. It truly hurts. I've had that experience where I had that same fear of, I want the acceptance of my family and my friends, and I'm doing something completely different than everybody else. And that fear was real. And when I heard about people who would say like, oh, you know, so-and-so, your cousin, your whatever, is talking crap about you, saying, you know, you're just running away from your problems, and, you know, when are you going to settle down? And so, like, that hurts. It truly does. But you have to be willing to actually take those little tiny hurts for a lifetime of joy, a lifetime of fulfillment. Because deep down, this person, whoever's listening to this, I want you to know that I feel what you feel. I feel that little tiny voice that's at the pit of your stomach that feels that something's missing, that some little thing is missing. And I urge you to listen to that little tiny voice and to just meditate on it. Just take some time for yourself and to say, what is that really? Is that starting a business? Is that traveling? Is that focusing on getting into a loving, healthy relationship? What is that for you? Because so often we feel this little tiny feeling inside of us and we ignore it, because change and the unknown is scary. But if you can slowly but surely start living your life more in the unknown, stretching your comfort zone a little bit more, it'll give you positive experiences to where you associate the unknown, you associate taking more risks with positive things. Because that feeling, now, the feeling of fear that wells up in me is just telling me that I'm about to do something fucking awesome. And that is a massive shift for a human being, to go from, I don't want to do this thing when I feel this feeling, to this feeling is the feeling that I get when I'm about to do something awesome, and I should definitely do it now. Yeah,
totally. Thanks for sharing that. And as you know, they say the magic happens outside of your comfort zone.
Yes, and massively.
I think that's that feeling when you're like outside of your comfort zone. You know, something's wrong, but...
Exactly. I feel like there's something there, actually. There's something there that we should definitely talk about is the comfort zone, is stretching that. And this could be in your marketing for your business. Oftentimes people feel uncomfortable in sales conversations. Oftentimes people feel comfortable really, you know, showing up on Facebook or, you know, using their personal stuff for business stuff. You know, there's a lot of stretching of the comfort zone in that. And one thing that I've found, I guess if you call it a little life hack to stretching your comfort zone, is I like to meet friends who are in the extremes. So for example, I'll meet a friend who is incredibly business minded. He's 100% focused on business, and he works his ass off, and he crushes it in business and marketing. And he's 100% sold on that lifestyle. And then I'll get another friend who is a total hippie energy healer shaman, and I'll hang out with her. And then I'll get another friend who's a country boy who just likes to watch college football and drink Budweiser. And I'll hang out with all these extremes. And that's where your comfort zone is able to, like in a safe container, able to be stretched. Because we naturally mirror the people that we hang out with. So if you're hanging out with the shaman energy healer, you will naturally be more open to her ideas or his ideas and way of being. And that will be a comfortable way to stretch your comfort zone. And then you're able to know exactly where you belong on the spectrum of life.
That's a really great tip, Chase. Thank you for sharing that. And Chase, I wanted to ask you about, once again, the Bucketlist Lifestyle. So you have 5 adventures right now on your list, right?
Yes.
And you told me that you get from 8 to 12 people on an adventure, or sometimes more?
8 to 12 is what I like to keep it. There's potential for more in the future, but for now, for all of 2018, we're just rolling with 8 to 12 people.
Okay. So are you planning to grow this business as in getting more people or adding more adventures, or like what's your growth plan for it?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Which I'm so excited about, just the fact that you asked that question. So my goal is my journey is building through the end of 2017 through 2018, and 2019 is the year. 2019 is the year for my business. I'm hosting 20 different events in 2019, and I will be on 0 of them. I will be leading personally, tour guiding 0 of them. I'm hiring tour guides, hiring an operations manager, and someone who's going to actually be taking care of all of the planning and basically running my business. And I'm planning on stepping back and just being the face of my business and just being the one who uses it for marketing and things like that. But for the most part, stepping back as an owner instead of an operator. And that is my goal. And throughout the end of this year and 2018, I'm going to be continuously giving people way more value than they pay for. That's my goal, is blowing people's minds so I can get literally, that felt a little bit ingenuous, where I was about to say, so I can get the greatest testimonials on earth, but that doesn't feel true for me. What feels true for me is, yes, I'm going to get incredible testimonials, but also it feels good to me to start a business that I am 100% all in and giving mode. I'm still making money. I'm still paying my bills and traveling the world and things like that. But I'm not focused on, I know that that's going to come. What I'm focused on is the thing that a lot of business owners don't focus on, which is the person in front of me that I'm on the conversation with. I'm trying to give them the greatest experience of their life. I have a goal for every single, this is actually a good point. I have a goal for every single one of my adventures. And I tell myself this, I sit in silence, meditation, and I'll sit there. I'll be like, I want every single person on this adventure to have the greatest week of their entire lives this week. I want them to think back on this week, and I want them to think that this was the moment that changed their life. This is when they felt passion, life. They felt their body for the first time and felt absolutely joy-filled. And I imagine each person on this trip, because I have conversations on video chat with every single person that is going on these trips before we go on them, and I imagine them full of joy. I imagine them in passion and laughing and having so much fun with each other. And I really, really focus on them having the greatest experience. And I know that the money will come as long as I'm coming from that place of really trying to provide as much value as I possibly can for people. So that's my vision, is crush it as much as I possibly can, share my gift of impassioning people and just being a joyful soul. As I said before, we are mirrors of the people that we are around. And when I go on an adventure, I have so much fun as a tour guide and just me traveling that people naturally have so much fun just because they are around a positive energy like me and my other tour guides. Mm-hmm. So I'm building my company as incredible as I possibly can, 2017, 18, doing as much interviews, trying to get as much news publications, newspapers, magazines. Hopefully the bigger the better, of course, and really trying to grow this. So in 2019, I can have an experience where I can be a business owner truly and choose which adventure I'd like to go on. If there's an adventure to Iceland snowmobiling and I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do. It's my company. I can join anytime that I want. That's the beautiful thing. But I don't have to. That's my goal, is to get to the point where I don't have to do that and I can take a step back. There is a potential for something that I've been considering, which is the Bucketlist Lifestyle Elite Club, which is going to be for very high level, literally the most epic adventures humanly possible. Like I've just come up with in my head just the most epic experiences that a human being could possibly have. And those trips would be for people who can actually drop some 5 figures on an adventure. And but because right now everything is really inexpensive. You look at my trips, they're $1,000 cheaper than everybody else's.
Yeah.
And that's because I am the travel hacker. I am the one who can find things so cheap. And so people are in awe, like $2,200 for all-inclusive African safari in Africa, like all-inclusive, everything, accommodation, meals, the safari. You are not going to be able to find that. Go look at other tour companies. They're charging $3,500 at least. And so just knowing that, like, cool. So I'm going to have my business for, I guess, quote unquote, normal people who can afford somewhere between $1,000 and $2,400. And then I'm going to have another section, which I personally will be taking people on, which will be much higher priced, but specifically for people who want experiences, custom experiences that are more epic than literally they can imagine or anyone else can imagine.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, thank you for sharing all of that. And Chase, when we met a few weeks ago, you touched on that a little bit, that you were looking for tour guides, and it's not easy. And I get it, because I understand that you want to find people that are as passionate, as enthusiastic as you are about these adventures. So do you have any tips that you could share on how you're looking for these kind of tour guides for these people, and what are your requirements, and how do you decide if the person is a possible tour guide for you or not?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like this could go to any employee, for the people listening, because obviously people listening, not a lot of people are owners of tour companies. So I think that just listening to what I'm saying and applying it to employees in general is really, really important. But finding someone who is open, incredibly open, and incredibly like, I'm ready to actually do something. I like people who are go-getters and who are like, I want this position. I don't hire people that are on the fence about working for my company. I want people who are like, I don't know if I can cuss on here, but F yes. Like F yes. Like, I want to be working with the Bucketlist Lifestyle, and so excited, because there are people let's just talk about tour guides specifically. There's tons of travelers who are out there who are absolutely qualified to, take on that role and that responsibility. Being a tour guide is only difficult if you don't have an itinerary set up. And we have itineraries set up that are very, very clear. All of my tour guides, however, this is the somewhat difficult part, need to have had the experience themselves before they guide that experience. Mm-hmm. So, for example, how many people have gone to the Holi Festival in India? I can't just get a tour guide who's been, to India. I need someone who's done the Holi Festival, because I want experts leading these experiences. So in that case, I'm going to have to find someone who is not only very smart, very resourceful, very loving and open and joyful and happy and nice to be around, but also someone who's had that experience. And that can be a challenge. And that's what I've been finding is a challenge, is someone who's done the epic shit that I've done. Yeah. Because I've just had experiences that other people haven't. Or I find someone who has had those experiences, but they don't have the qualities that I'm exactly looking for in a tour guide specifically. And I want to drop one last thing when it comes to finding employees in general, is I absolutely love asking my network. I was hiring a personal assistant. It was a great position, great pay. I'm sure I could throw that on Craigslist or some monster.com or something, and I get tons of applications. But I trust people that I know. Mm-hmm. And when I ask, hey, who do you know that is the best VA that you could possibly imagine? Like, who's the best VA in the entire industry? And I want to talk to those people. And then I have conversations with those people, and I inspire the hell out of them. All of my employees love what they're doing. I only allow my employees to work in their genius. I only allow them to do what they love. My personal assistant does not do stuff that she does not enjoy. My video editor does not do stuff that he does not enjoy. My website guy does not do stuff that he does not enjoy. And anytime, I tell all my employees this when I hire them, anytime you find yourself working and you feel like this is a monotonous task and you're not enjoying what you're doing, please contact me, and I will take this one specific task and I will give it to someone else. It doesn't mean that you're out of a job for that moment. It just means that I'm going to take this specific task that you don't enjoy and I'm going to start giving it to someone else. Because I refuse to have people of any kind of negative energy around me whatsoever, in my business whatsoever. It just leads to more and more negativity and more monotony. And that is absolutely the opposite of why I started this company.
That's really awesome. And why aren't more business owners and managers understand that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have an answer for that, because they feel fear of failure. They feel the fear of not being enough, and that fear makes them focus so much on money and so much on the numbers and the spreadsheets of how the hell am I going to monetize every little piece of my business, that they forget that these are human beings that are working with you. And human beings can work so much more efficiently and so much more better when they feel appreciated, when they feel impassioned. I can get 5 times as much work done as a normal person can in a day because I love what I'm doing, and I'm only working on the things that I am a genius in. You keep someone in their genius, you keep them feeling appreciated, and you keep them full of happiness and joy doing exactly what they want to be doing, and pay them well, you will have significantly better results than anyone else in the industry.
Yeah, that's an awesome answer and explanation of that. Thank you, Chase. And I have one of the last questions here for you as we're approaching the end of the podcast. What would be your biggest, most important piece of advice to either beginner entrepreneurs or those people who are just thinking of maybe starting their own business?
100%. Okay, this is what's coming up for me. Maybe it's the best thing ever. Maybe it's just okay. But this is what's coming up for me is so often first-time entrepreneurs and people who are just thinking about starting something, they often read books, inspiring books, listen to YouTube videos, inspiring compilation stuff, and they watch videos and stuff in very general ways. So, for example, you'll read Tools of Titans and stuff, an incredible book, the 4-Hour Workweek, other just like badass books and stuff, but always general. My number one advice is to focus specifically on what you're wanting to provide in the world, whatever value you're wanting to give the world, and focus on how people have given that specific value to the world and how they have been incredibly successful at it. Focus very, very specifically on your industry, because there is so much information in the world that will be coming at you, so much incredible information that will help you in some ways. But you need to take all this energy that's going east and west and south and north, and it's going all around you. And you need to just take it and focus it 100% in one direction. Take all of your energy and focus it in one little place, finding out how have other people been successful at this, and how can I take the things that work for me and my business and leave what doesn't work and add my own little flavor, my own spice to this, what makes me different, and really, really focusing very, very clearly on one specific thing instead of broad, general, do accounting. No, it's like, what do I need to do for accounting for a travel business? What do I need to do for accounting to sell, online products? Specifics are everything, because you will absolutely get inundated with millions of different articles on business.
Wow, Chase, thank you so much for this incredible piece of advice. It was a very original one that I never heard on this podcast from anyone, so that's always awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And for people who want to learn more about you or your business, where should they go?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for asking. So the bucketlistlifestyle.com is one way to do that. Honestly, this is how I operate. I love Facebook and I love getting new Facebook friends. So honestly, just add me. I do it not just as a personal, my friends and family. I love to make new friends and I love to talk to new people. I'll do voice messages with you. I love talking with people and meeting new friends and all over the world. So please feel free. Just throw me a Facebook request. I'm on there and I love talking to people and seeing what other awesome, epic human beings are up to as well. So you can either email me with anything direct, go to the website, check out some of these epic adventures that we're going to be doing, and contact me just to, hey, I see that you're in Moscow. Let's hang out. Let's grab a beer. I see you're in Spain. Let's do this. Like, just come and add me. Let's hang out.
That's awesome. Chase, thank you so much for taking your time, sharing your experiences, your advice, your knowledge, and for helping our listeners start or grow their online businesses.
Absolutely, Alex. Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Extra Paycheck Podcast. As always, head over to extrapodcast.com/133. This is where I'll be putting up show notes page for today's show, including links and ways to contact Chase and a few other things. Also, head over to extrapodcast.com/iTunes in order to subscribe to the show. If you haven't already, please do leave a rating and a review on iTunes, which will help the show tremendously. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next Monday.